18 injured in a plane crash at Pearson Airport. The plane completely upside down on the runway. The crash forced Pearson to close for more than 2 hours, delaying flights and diverting at least 46 planes to Ottawa and Montreal and elsewhere in the country. I'm sorry about your redirection to a couple of the more terrible places in the country. But yeah, what a crazy, crazy thing. Some of the footage being taken on the runway by the people being evacuated from the plane. Like, this is just a different time to be alive. This must feel like what it felt like when the people were getting those first images of like Vietnam from embedded journalists during the Vietnam War. Like, this is stuff we would not have seen 10 years ago at all.
No. And I love the video of the people spilling out and taking a look back and getting an appreciation of what they just survived. Because you guys, for all intents and right here. So you're walking on the ceiling because number one, you land upside down and you're hanging like a bat upside down in your seatbelt. Then you let go. Then you drop into your head. If there's not somebody there to catch you, then you walk along the ceiling and get scooped out of the door, and then you take a look back and you see what you just survived. There are 80 people, and make no mistake, this could have been an absolutely catastrophic accident. These are 80 of the most blessed people who witnessed and lived through a miracle. Like, really, this could have been a terrible, terrible moment in Canada. And look at them, like all in their travel gear, their little hoodies and their little their yoga pants. Look at that, ladies, in a pair of capris, just get scooped up. I mean, what an absolute miracle that happened there. And it'll be really interesting to see what exactly happened to cause this accident, because this is, having the wing flipped over the underside of the plane, just unprecedented. We don't see these kinds of things happening, but thank God for all of those people and for prayers answered in that moment. Because don't tell me that when they came in for that hard landing, that a whole bunch of prayers didn't shoot up, like right in that second, and all of those prayers were answered. It was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I don't think there were many atheists on that plane as it ended up flipped upside down on the runway. That's for sure. Like, that, it's just wild how that happened. This a Delta flight. And I am always like, put on my seatbelt. If the plane's crashing, what is it going to do for me in the inferno that the plane will ultimately be? I'm not putting on my seatbelt, or I grumble. It's not to say that I don't put on my seatbelt, but I grumble, and I'm always like, this is ridiculous. Like, who cares? Wow. Guess who's putting on her seatbelt all the time now? I bet you those 18 people who were hurt, hopefully they're okay. How much do you want to bet some of them didn't have their seatbelts on?
Oh, yep. And you would be tossed around like a popcorn kernel in a pan. I mean, it would just be that would be such a terrible hard landing. But those are 80 of the luckiest people on planet Earth. And this is a great news story, actually. Yeah.
It is a great news story. Now, maybe I'm not in Toronto, but understandably, I think Toronto had a hell of a snowstorm this weekend, and I think they also had some pretty serious winds. You could tell by the way the snow was blowing on the tarmac. And I also saw some footage of the windsock where it was like straight full and going the other direction. So I'm not an aviation expert, obviously, but I do watch episodes of Mayday before I get on planes for some reason. And I wonder if they got hit by a crosswind. My goodness. My goodness.
It looks just like they had a really hard landing. Like, it looks
and then just bounced over.
Yeah, like a pretty extreme angle there. But this will all come out in the wash. We'll figure out exactly what happened. But you can tell by the way the snow is blowing. For those watching us in exotic locales that don't have snow, Canadians can tell the temperature by the way the snow sounds and looks and blows.
Yes.
And you can tell that there is a stiff wind coming out of one direction there, just by the drifts, the little drifts that have built up there. And
how smooth there. Yeah.
And that it was pretty cold that day too. So
you can tell by how powdery the snow is, how cold it is.
Yes.
Because it's not heavy.
Yeah, and you can tell how cold it is outside by the way the snow sounds. When you
Yes.
step on it, it has a different crunch and a different noise. You can this is
Yeah,
a
the sound.
distinctly Canadian set of skills. We're
Yeah,
proud
and
of them.
I can literally tell the temperature by how close the snowplow on the road, which is nowhere near my house. I can tell
Yeah.
you how cold it is by how close that thing sounds to my house, because the colder it gets, the more it sounds like it's literally right in my driveway, clearing out
Sound
a
sound
spot.
sound
Yeah,
travels, yeah, there's that windsock. Yeah,
see,
sound travels
crosswinds.
differently in the extreme cold. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, that makes sense. I mean, there's no other reason why it would have flipped over on its back the way that it did and folded
After
the
it
wing under.
bounced.
But thank
Oh,
God, like, just thank God. And the way that the first responders were there, and the way, and truly, shout out to Pearson. We don't have a lot
right.
of things typically to say,
No,
uh,
the
but they
luggage
were.
losers down at Pearson. Yeah, but good job, guys.
No, really, like you guys had things up and running again. I think within 3 or 4 hours. That was a pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
two
But
hours, they
but
said.
but oh, 2 hours. No, that
Yeah.
was that was incredible. Well done, Pearson International Airport. You guys did us really proud. Well done.
Now this was a Delta flight. Uh, we don't know anything about the makeup of the flight crew. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Like
there
that is
there
just,
are. It seemed like
oh,
it came in at a really extreme angle, like really hard, really fast, and really violent landing
yeah.
there. Yeah,
Could you
but who
imagine
who
like
knows?
sitting in the airport just having your overpriced airport coffee, looking out
And
the
seeing
window
that
and
happen.
seeing this, and I'd be like, no, I'm not getting on a plane today. Thank you.
I wonder how many
I'm good.
cancellations they had right after this event. Like, I wonder how many people
Right.
just went, "Nope, I'm not
I'm
going to."
good.
As it turns out, I don't need to go to Frankfurt or Munich or wherever
Yeah,
people were flying to
exactly.
yesterday. That would be enough to terrify me. Yeah, that'd be enough to
Let's
terrify me. Anyway.
now again, I was saying I don't know the makeup of the flight crew,
Mhm.
but I do know that Delta has a strong focus on DEI.
Of course they
So
do.
this, as libs of TikTok posts, Delta's pinned video on their TikTok account is this.
Did somebody say slave? Did somebody say
Does not inspire
slave?
confidence. I
Okay.
don't know.
It does.
This is
It
no.
absolutely. You're right. It does not inspire confidence. As a matter of fact, I would pay extra, okay, extra, to know that I have a 58-year-old pilot named Jerry, or
Yeah,
Jim, or John, or Jason, because that
yeah,
guy is not a DEI hire. And this is,
right.
this is
I
this
need
is
an
I think.
Irv.
A good old herb, a good
Yeah,
old herb flying the plane. I'd pay extra for that. No, but I
yeah,
don't. This is one of the things that these companies are slowly starting to learn, is that DEI does not inspire confidence in their consumer base. We know that it is just a virtue signaling trap to get uh, uh, social credit from companies that hand them out like candy. And but when it comes right down to it, when people's lives are in the balance, when you have jobs that rely on technical skill, DEI is the antithesis to that. DEI is short for didn't earn it, and in jobs that require like life altering and life saving skills, DEI has no place for. Well, DEI has no place for any part in our
right.
society anymore, and we're watching the United States turn back on a lot of these things. But yeah, give me Irv.
I want Irv. I want
Yeah,
Irv to have gone to mass on Sunday.
yeah,
I want him to have 2 or 3 grandkids, and I
yeah.
want him to be 5 years out from retirement. That is the
That's
ideal pilot for me.
that
He's
is
got
that
lots
is
to
the
live for.
Canadians know the national anthem. They stand in silence to remember those who died for this country. But not every Canadian knows their rights and freedoms. The Freedom Passport will change that. It looks and feels like a Canadian passport, but contains the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms in a portable, easy-to-read format. The Freedom Passport. Order one for yourself and for all the freedom lovers that you love at freedompassport.ca.